Hello everyone, and welcome to Copper State Adventures. My name is Greg. Today, we're actually hiking the Grand Canyon. We're only doing the South Kaibab Trail. We're going to be going down to the river and coming back out in the same day. I just got dropped off at the trailhead on the 64 US 64 at the South Kaibab Trail, which is part of actually the Arizona Trail. The South Kaibab Trail doesn't start quite yet, but the road to the actual trailhead is only it's closed and open only to the shuttle buses. Because I was being dropped off by my wife, I was not able to pull into that spot, of course. So squeezing a little extra, about a mile one way, so 2 miles round trip extra, but kind of had that in the back of my mind that would be a potential. So we're just getting started at 6 a.m. So a little bit before sunrise. So sunrise is 6:21 this morning. So I get to see that at the Grand Canyon. This will be a really cool trip. So we're hiking along the Arizona Trail, and all of a sudden it merges with this paved, tarred trail. And nice little break, but it's already paved, and a lot of people already out here. Again, it's still 6 a.m. or so, a little after 6, and shuttle buses are already dropping people off at the trailhead. So definitely won't be alone. The one shuttle bus I did see was completely full, so that'll be nice. And want to follow up. So we actually came up last night. We left the Phoenix area at 9 p.m. and we arrived to camp about 12:30 this morning. Set up camp and passed right out. Set our alarms for 5 a.m. Gave us about 30 minutes to pack up camp, get everything situated, and then 30 minutes to drive in. We were about 30 minutes south of the Grand Canyon. Came through, went to the entrance station, paid our fee, and we got into the national park. And it was really cool. We got to hear elk all morning. Apparently my wife and our friend actually heard elk all night. I didn't hear them until this morning, but it's still cool to hear. And even hiking along the trail here at the national park, I can still hear a significant amount of elk. Well, that was an interesting point in the trail. There was a lot of steps, and they were probably all 3 feet steps apart. And in between each step, in between each, I guess, check step, were puddles. All the dirt was soaking wet and made mud. And it was just worn down, large puddles, all the rain coming off the side of the canyon. So I had to really negotiate that terrain. One lady did slip in a different group, so we had to help her out a little bit, but this is what we're dealing with here. Those are a lot less space apart, but definitely still worn out and eroded. Not as much water, so not as much puddles, but less of a concern. Alright guys, so we just passed Cedar Ridge, and there's like three restrooms there. 2 of them are locked, and one of them was horribly smelling. But everyone continued to use it because it's the only place you can go to the restroom. And we reached Cedar Ridge at about 6:47, so we're about 45 minutes into the trail, so we're doing pretty good. There were a lot of people taking pictures of the canyon and stuff, and it was a really good view, and the sun's just coming up. I've removed my other layers, my wind jacket and my polyester layer for my warmth this morning. It is warming up. There's a thermometer on the wall at the outhouse, and it did say it's a little over 50 degrees, around 52 degrees. So it is nice, and like I said, the sun is just now coming up, and it is just absolutely beautiful out here. And we're coming up here, I believe this is O'Neill Butte. So here's some of those pools that I was talking about. I believe they're created from the mules, and the water resting in them and the mules stepping in them again, and this whole circle of life with these puddles and the erosion of the trail. Like I said, it makes for very difficult negotiating for a safe path on the trail. And then there'll be some spots where it dries up, and some spots that get really bad, and I haven't seen any spots as worse as it was up there. Unfortunately, I didn't get any good video of it, but this will have to do. It's not ideal trail conditions, but again, it is multi-purpose, high-use trail, and it's definitely evident. So I gotta say, it is nice to finally have a gap in between people. For a while there, I was running in between a bunch of groups, kind of immersing myself in between groups as the groups themselves were starting and stopping at different times from different break points. There were groups within groups, of course, and like there are large groups, and each of them have broken off into 3 or 4 people, and each one of those was deciding whether or not they'd let me pass. So I would end up passing a few of them, and they get stuck right in the middle of their group. Ultimately, we're all out here to enjoy the same trail, and I'm not sure how many of these people are actually going to be going all the way down to the river. I did meet one group of people, about 4 or 5 guys, who are going from the South Rim to the North Rim today, and then staying the night over there. Now, that's what I had originally planned to do for this trip, and the logistics just didn't work out with having my wife and our friend drive to the other side of the canyon. Timing wise, when we return tomorrow, waking up first thing tomorrow morning, coming back, it just wasn't something that we were willing to rush through. So we didn't do it. I think we'll do that this spring. We'll do a rim to rim trail, and this time it's just going to be the South Kaibab Trail, as I mentioned, and going down to the river, hanging out at Phantom Ranch, and coming back. And that is a 7 miles. That's not including that little extra piece I did this morning from the road to the actual trailhead, which turns out, by the way, there were people that were actually parking at the trailhead. I'm not sure how they got there. There was a sign at the turnoff point indicating it was shuttle buses only, so I'm not sure what the deal is, if there's an alternate road. When I looked at the map, I didn't see one, but there may be. But it's all right. Like I said, it's a nice way to start the trail and ease my way into it. Yeah. Now here's one of the first level points in this trail. Again, we're about an hour into this trail, and I just had about 35, maybe 40 yards worth of level. I'll take it. Alright, so we're finishing up walking along this ridge here. It's been pretty level. I know I pointed out the one level spot, but there have been a couple other ones, and now we're on one. And when I say level, of course, I don't mean exactly level. It's a lot less steep than what was previously walked, and it is significantly more level than the previous elevation changes that we were experiencing on the trail. So I'll take this and enjoy that. But we're coming up on the end of it, and we're going to be heading down the little bit more steep portions of it, and I think we'll be at Skeleton Point here soon. So it's been nice. I'm having a hard time getting pictures of views or any videos of the views, just because the angle of the sun is creating a lot of distorted the sun rays are creating a lot of distorted pictures. So I'm gonna do the best I can, but enjoy it for what it's worth, and just know that it is a beautiful sight to see, and it really is amazing down here. And I'm not even to the bottom yet. So part of our plan is when we get to the bottom, we are going to cross the bridge, the Blackbridge, across the Colorado River, and then we are going to walk a little further on the north side of the river to Phantom Ranch. I know they have a lot of treats down there, so I don't know, maybe I'll get some lemonade, or perhaps some type of food, or I don't know, something. I know I'm supposed to send a postcard as tradition, so I'll be doing that. And not sure who I'm going to send it to yet, actually, so kind of funny if I sent it to my wife, but I don't know, maybe there's someone else I can think of. No one's on my mind right now, but I'm sure someone will come to mind. Now that I'm thinking about it, I also have to think of an address to send it to, and of course nowadays we don't have much addresses memorized. I know I don't. Here we are at Skeleton Point, and the view here is wonderful. From what I've researched, it's all downhill from here, but I could have said that at the trailhead. And that's my attempt at getting a view from the direction of the rays, but if you can see that either, there's a bird there. Not much wildlife, I haven't seen much. I've heard the birds, but haven't seen much of anything, but we're just going to keep continuing on. Alright, here we are in the, just turned Skeleton Point a couple switchbacks ago, and first view of the river. Right there in the center. I can hear it roaring. You just imagine the power of that river flowing. All those switchbacks I just showed you, we're going to be hitting those, but just finally some shade. It's been a while since we've had some shade. So I've been definitely roasting, you know, as I rotate and hit the switchbacks. Left side of my face may get some sun, the right side of my face, and kind of going back and forth. So definitely roasting myself so far, but it's still pretty good temperature, and I'm comfortable. All right, so behind that rock there in the center, in that shadow, is actually a deer. I thought I heard it puffing and sneezing. I thought it was just a person on the other side of the trail, the switchbacks. I looked up because it was still going and there was no one else below me. Sure enough, there's a deer, and I don't think you guys can see it in there. But he is definitely in that shadow. That's really cool. Hey everyone, we're here at the tip-off point, and it's 8 o'clock in the morning, 7:55 to be exact, and just used the restroom, put some more sunblock on. and we're gonna go ahead and continue working our way down. I can see the main gorge from the actual river, so we are getting very close, and we're just gonna keep on trooping on. Here we go. All right, so here's what one of those tip-off points are. Not tip-off points, but this is the tip-off point rest house. There's 3 restrooms there, just like there was at the last point. And there's a thermometer on that location as well. And it identifies the temperature as 72 degrees right now. So definitely warming up with the day as we work our way in the canyon. Check out that elevation gain. Or I guess we're gonna go down that now. It goes right below there, right there. So we'll get that going up later, but we have to go down it first. All right, another shady spot. When I tell you, after being exposed to the sun all morning, it's a pleasure to have some shade. And just noticed some sunblock on my nose, so did reapply sunblock at that last point. And as I was coming down from there, a lot of backpackers are coming up right now. I saw maybe 4 or 5, 5 coming up, and man, they're huffing and puffing. They said they're about an hour from the campground. One of the guys was saying he saw bighorn sheep, and he didn't have much breath to kind of identify where he last saw it. So I told him about our deer sighting, and he thought that was cool. So kind of hard to explain, you know, the rock up the trail after the switchbacks. After a while, there's not too much identifying points up here, and I couldn't remember where it was between Cedar Ridge or wherever, and quite a few boulders around here, and a lot of shade with little spots of shade. So finding a deer in a shady spot in the boulder, just kind of funny opportunity there to explain where things are at in this 1.2 million acre park. So it's kind of cool, but I'm keeping my eyes peeled for that bighorn sheep. That'd be really cool sighting, you know, added to the list of creatures that we've seen on this so far. All right, so as I was finishing talking about the bighorn sheep with you, there were some hikers uphill running down, and with the trampling of their feet, I thought for sure that we had identified the bighorn sheep. When I turned around, it was just some runners coming down. You guys ever had an experience like that where you heard something that you thought it was something else, and it turned out to be just a human, or maybe not even a threat or concern at all? I remember I was hiking in the desert around Tucson area, and we're hiking with some buddies and I, and we got silent on our trip. We kind of just spaced ourselves out, and we're just going along, kind of zoning out to ourselves, and all of a sudden we hear like a growl or a cough of what we thought was an actual like an animal. My first thought was a mountain lion. Don't know where that came from, don't know why I thought that, but that was my first logical thought. And sure enough, as I turn the bend and I look up, there's an older man coming up the hill, and all he was doing was clearing his throat. That's it, just him by himself hiking up the side of the hill. And it was just kind of, it was relieving for sure, but kind of very funny actually at the same time that, you know, that occurred. And yeah, you guys ever had anything like that? I'm still keeping my eyes peeled for the bighorn sheep, or anything for that matter. It'd be really cool to see something else, or additional animals or something, other than a snake, of course. I know there's this cool, I should have done more research on it honestly, about the rattlesnake that only lives in the Grand Canyon, and it's got a pink hue to it, and it would be cool to see, but maybe not this time on this trail. So So it looks like this boulder actually fell from up this canyon wall here. And I can tell, or my guess is coming from the fact that the actual check step, that log there, is busted up. Probably, this little piece probably broke off of this upper corner. But who knows? But it definitely looks relatively recent. So there's the Blackbridge going over the Colorado River for the Kaibab Trail. It's the first sighting of it. You can Hey guys, we made it to the Blackbridge. We made it to Blackbridge. This is pretty cool. We're at the bottom of the river, a little after 8:40 in the morning, and walking along the trail here. I see the water pipeline is coming out. I don't know, part of me thought it would be a lot lower underground, but I guess it makes sense with the hard ground out here for it to be right under the trail. This is the Bright Angel Campground. So apparently there's an amphitheater down here. There's the corral for the mules and welcoming us to the Phantom Ranch area. And here's the Phantom Ranch area. Here's each individual cabin. And then coming up here is the actual, I guess the cafe we'll call it. I'm not sure what they call it. An area you can get a drink and maybe a snack. So I see an open sign from here, and I'm gonna go in and see what they've got. Alright guys, so we just finished up a little break at Phantom Ranch. I had a cup of coffee, I wrote a postcard. I decided to send a postcard to my mom. Just saying, hey, I'm sure I'll talk to her before she even receives it, but I thought it was cool. I'm sure she'll appreciate it. And I just bought one. And changed out my socks, filled up my water, and now we're heading out. So a lot of people are still coming through, a lot of rim to rim hikers. Haven't seen any north to south people, but I've seen a lot of south to north people, which makes sense. And then a lot of people are already heading back up to the rim. They're day hikers like I'm doing this trail. Some people are doing the loop up Bright Angel. And so now I'm getting a little start up there. It's 9:38, and so we're gonna work our way up, straight up the South Kaibab Trail. So I took a quick detour over to the beach, Colorado River Beach, right underneath Blackbridge, as you can see right there. And just real fast, I wanted to show you, just behind me are some wheelbarrows. Thought that was kind of cool. Boat, beach, river. I can only imagine what they use those for. I really have no idea, but really cool here. But you can see the water. I don't know if you can see that, but the water is just moving really fast. Really fast. But so as I'm walking away from the beach and the wheelbarrows, I thought to myself, I think I figured out what they maybe use those for. And this is just a guess. But I wonder if they use those for when the whitewater rafters dock at the beach, and then they use the wheelbarrows to haul their stuff to one of the Phantom Ranch's cabins. stay there for the night. You know, they put whatever camping gear or personal belongings, personal effects that they need to in the wheelbarrow and haul it up the trail a little bit. We're really not too far from Phantom Ranch. But real quick, I see a squirrel. Just add that to our list. Still haven't seen that bighorn sheep, but anyway, back on my train of thought there. Maybe they haul that stuff, you know, there's 4 of them, 4 wheelbarrows, right up the trail, and they head on over there from there. So I don't know, what do you guys think? I don't know, that's my best guess. That'd be pretty cool. So I'm underneath Blackbridge on the north side of the river, and there's these 2 prickly pear cactus, 3 prickly pear cactus growing out of the side of the bridge. It looks like it's in between the wood planks that cross from side to side of the bridge, and they're just growing out of the wood. They're growing out of the bridge. I thought that was pretty unique, pretty cool. And actually I see a little one over here too. It's a 4th one. Kind of interesting. So I don't see too many people coming down the trail right now, and there's certainly not a lot of people going up the trail right now. I have no one on this bridge with me right now, the Black Bridge. So it's kind of nice to be able to walk across it without having to scoot around anybody, and yeah, it'll be nice. Hopefully we don't have to stop for too many people or whatever, maybe too many mules. I am hoping to see a mule sighting though, have some mules pass by, or maybe see them at the stops. Just as far as inventory goes, I only used about just under 2 liters of water on my way down. Again, it was a little cooler. I'm not exerting too much energy coming down. My inventory right now, I have 2 liters plus 2 32-ounce bottles. So it's about 4 liters roughly of water. So should be well more than enough water to get through to the top. All right, here we go back through the tunnel on the uphill direction. I'm really interested to see how exposed to the sun that we're going to be. Alright, so we're about 10 minutes in going up, and I'm definitely out of breath a little bit. So feels good. Figure I'd take a break in the shade. Forgot to mention the forecast. So of course it was 40 degrees, about 42 degrees this morning, about 5 a.m. when we woke up, and as we drove in, and I believe it was 75 down at Phantom Ranch. I'm not quite sure. And there is a 20% chance of rain from 10 a.m. Until like 4 p.m. And of course it is a little after 10 now, so the clouds reminded me of that, because it is really cool to see the clouds all around on the canyon here. And you can see that. So that's what reminded me, and as we get to the top, I'm definitely warming up just from exerting the energy. But as we continue going uphill, it is supposed to warm up as the day grows later in the day, but I wouldn't mind a little mist, kind of cool me down, a little sprinkle. So all right, I just wanted to update you guys with the forecast, because I forgot to do that at the beginning of the video. A couple things in this one. There's some mule coming right up the hill there. And I don't think we're going to catch up to them unless they stop at one of the rest stops. And the clouds are getting more and more gray. But I'm glad I see the mule. That's kind of cool to finally get to see. Hopefully we get a close-up of them. We're just going to keep working up the trail. Doing pretty good. I haven't had to stop too much on the trail to catch my breath. It's definitely been an incline, but it hasn't been, it's no steeper than I thought it was going to be. At least not at this point. I know towards the top it was much steeper than it currently is, so we'll cross that trail when we get there. tip off. It's about 10 minutes to 11, and my calves are definitely feeling used today. I'm feeling it, so it feels good. You know, it's a nice burn. I'm definitely ready to kick my legs up when I get back to camp, so I'm just gonna fill up on a protein bar and just keep on going. Hydrate a little too, but man, these views are just amazing. Here's another cool thought, you know, like kind of frustrating in a sense, right? Like a false summit. You know, we're all familiar with a false summit where you're hiking along a peak and you see the top, or what you think is the top, only because you can't see anything in the background. And you think that's the summit, you get to the top of that, there's another summit, and that's got to be the one, right? Nah, it never is, until finally you reach it. Man, I'll tell you, it seems like there's a lot of false rims. Same kind of sense, but just when I think one of these mesas or buttes or plateaus, any of these ridges, any of these geological features for that matter, look like the top, nope. False rim. Same type of phenomenon, but yeah. We'll know we're at the top soon though. Closer to those mule. Either I'm going faster than I expected to go, or they're going slower than I expected to go. Maybe a little combination of the two. Or maybe I just need a rest. I'm doing good still. Just normal incline stuff. So we'll keep on going. We're coming up on that rock. Where we saw that deer, and let's take a closer look, see if it's there. Well, I didn't see the deer over there, but we're definitely becoming more exposed to the sun. We were fortunate enough to have the sun in the east a little bit as we were coming up, so those ridge lines still gave us some, some shade. The clouds are kind of coming in and out, so of course when I'm completely exposed on the ridgeline, the clouds go away. So I'm gonna try and catch up to those mule and get a close-up of them. Well, it looks like we're a little bit more than halfway. We're doing pretty well. Alright, so we did catch up to the mules, and I actually got stuck behind them. They were giving the mules a break, giving them a rest break, and luckily it was in a shady spot. So I ran into some other backpackers. They were doing a 5-day trip at a bunch of the other campgrounds at the bottom of the canyon. So it was cool talking with them. So apparently the mules stop every once in a while, so it wasn't that I was fast, it wasn't that they were slow, it was purely that they were resting, and it was a good opportunity to rest, so I'm going to keep on going up. Alright, so I took a break a little ways back there, not too far, and reapplied some sunblock, took a breather, got some water. I'm going to save my snack for a little bit later. I'm getting a little hungry, but not quite ready to use that yet. I'm going to show you what those are in just a little bit. They're just some Kroger peanut almond bars. So anyway, we're doing good. The mules do keep stopping, so it's kind of forcing me to have a break, and that's kind of nice. Sitting under a juniper tree. We're at Cedar Ridge Point, so that makes us about 1.5 miles away from the trailhead, and just taking a break. It's 12:20, So I'm eating my last granola bar, and I told you I would show you what those granola bars are. This is simply it's a Kroger sweet and salty peanut granola bar. It's 170 calories. I get, I don't know, I think 6 of these for $2.50. And they're good. They're just, let me just open one up for you. So opening it up, it is just peanuts, and then there's like this peanut butter, thicker peanut butter type material, stuff on the bottom, and it's really good. And then it's a little warmed up, so it just kind of broke off, melted, but it's so as I sit here, when I got up here, there was the mule were up here. They were taking a break up here, so that's one reason. I was already going to stop up here, but it furthermore made it clear that I really should stop. So taking a break, and it'll be a good time. The last little stretch there, as I was coming up to where I'm at now, was very steep. And as I was coming up, there was a Park Service guide, ranger, and he was coming down the trail with a group, maybe 20, 25 people in his group, tourists, and he was guiding them. And I was wondering what he was saying or teaching or showing, and I don't know what substance, but what he did tell them was to move over for an uphill hiker. And they all moved over, and it was kind of cool just walking past them on the way up. And it's been far and few between getting that kind of courtesy as you're coming uphill, especially all the way up. Yeah, another thing was when I was getting behind people, they would turn around to notice that I was there, and notice that I was there for multiple looks back, yet they would continue walking by, and I didn't want to be rude and ask them to move aside and let me pass them or storm on by. So I just kind of followed behind. It was, like I said, it was a positive way to think of an opportunity for a break. And then finally they would move over and let me go, and I don't know, something else. Alright guys, here we are at the trailhead now, finally. I just have to do the last little stretch, get to the road so I can get picked up. Alright, so as I said, we did make it back to the trailhead, and you know, I got dropped off earlier this morning at the road, but like I said, some of these cars got in here and I'm not sure how. I'm going to look into that for next time. So I'm going to work my way back to the road. I just called my wife and she's going to pick me up, and that'll put one in the books. Hey guys, so after getting picked up from the trailhead, we went over to the Watchtower, got some views. So enjoy these videos of the views, and then just check out the rocks. I don't know much about this. It just kind of last moment trip over here. But yeah, we're just doing some extra excursions, had some lunch after the hike.
Angie.
Hey guys, so we just left the store and we're hanging out. We got some drinks, some beer, and we found this Grand Canyon Airlines old abandoned hangar. And we're gonna camp near this, but you've got to check this out. It's just abandoned. We're gonna wander around here for a minute. But check that out. This cool like hut basement thing right down the street from the hangar. The hangar's right over there in the center. There's this abandoned house we're gonna check out, a truck, and then this cool little hut thing. See if I can get a better angle on it. I'm going in just a moment. I don't think it's gonna pick up that well with the lighting, but you go in here and walk through these like attic doors and basement doors, and oh cool, will work really nice. It's like a little workshop, and this big old stick holding, I know. And then back here just some rat nests, and then as you exit out, thought that was pretty cool. There was this abandoned, like, I think it's just an old fireplace that remained from a previous house. We're just exploring before we set up camp, so it's kind of fun to check some things out. All right, good morning everybody. After checking out the hangar, the Grand Canyon Airlines hangar, and that abandoned house, we set up camp. I didn't get any video of it last night. We just ended up hanging out, having dinner. We ended up cooking some burgers, some cheeseburgers, some beans, some potato salad, and we ended up passing out. Slept really well. Heard some coyotes, some elk again, but the coyotes were wild last night. So they howled, and then I howled for fun, and then there was even more howling. So it was really cool, and that was just before we went to bed. And then this morning we woke up. I started a fire. We played some cards, and then now we're packing up now, and we're gonna head back into the Phoenix area.